Hello ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Ryan is here. I haven't published in a while, but then I thought this is an interesting topic. There is an ongoing conflict in the digital world. This is the conflict between Russian banks and App Store moderation. It's been active for the last 4 years and there is still no winner. They just keep throwing fireballs at each other. So I have a Raiffeisen bank application on my phone. Here it is. Let's log in. Boom. $0. But the point is, it's a popular international bank. It also functions in Russia. I've downloaded this app almost 4 years ago. Back then the sanctions hit Russia and people were not able to download the new applications of Russian banks. There are many banks in Russia actually. Raiffeisen is one of the few that survived the apocalypse that fell on every other popular bank in Russia. Now let's remove those that are sanctioned. So the applications of these banks are available on App Store, while the rest have to play games with the App Store. Some of them pretend to be pharmacy apps, some astrology app. So you can imagine Raiffeisen Bank has a very crazy advantage over other banks in Russia. But the point is not about Raiffeisen Bank in this video, but about the way the banks play with the App Store. If you're not from Russia, you haven't experienced this madness combined with creativity, so let me explain.
Only the interesting with Daniel Ryan.
I've made a post about this situation 3 years ago actually, and people in the Russian Reddit community instantly called me a snitch. To my defense, I haven't done any investigative journaling. This was a publicly available information on the Russian segment of the internet, and it still is. The very much official newspapers, they publish about it, and there is even a term for these bank apps. It's called Partisan bank apps. But we will get back to it. So in this ongoing fight between App Store moderation and Russian banks, the Russian banks plot on their next moves to pass the App Store moderation. And App Store moderation is just known to be slow. It became such a meme that it even reached me, a person far from making the applications for the phones. So not so long ago, a Russian bank has published an application called Finances Online. They made a post about it on their Telegram channel. This is the video they used in this post. Let's look at it. It says, download it while it's still on App Store. They probably had a whole new job position on their website, something like Senior App Store Moderation Cheater. But I cannot judge them, that's just how they try to work around in these constraints. But it's just a little maybe oxymoronish, a little funny that the banks had to choose the spam strategy. They just spam the App Store, they are being kicked out, but they still keep spamming. So what does the App Store moderation even do? App Store review is mandatory for every app and its update. Apple checks each submission for safety, performance, privacy, business practices, design, and legal compliance. Well, they do check for legal compliance, but banks turn out to be smarter. First, Apple runs automated checks. They scan for broken links, missing information, etc. If the app passes this stage, then it moves to manual review. Apple considers privacy permission, payments, content, and the overall user experience. This is all great, but what the moderation doesn't know is that you need to shake your phone like this 4 times and then face it towards the sun. Keep it like this for 10 seconds. And then the astrology app will turn into bank application. But actually I'm joking, of course. It's very much easier. App Store moderation does a human review using demo accounts. So let me show you an example. I have an application called Prozerno, which is translated as about a grain. And they have a coffee grain on their logo. But there is nothing about coffee there. On the landing page, it asks me to enter the card number or offers me to become the client of the bank. So let's explore this application. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I have the application called ProZerno, and so based on the website I'm gonna be able to scan any coffee grain and see information about it. Very useful in real life. So let's see. ProZerno. Wow, it doesn't even show anything about grains. It's just a application of a bank, Bank, which is sanctioned, and I can become a client, although I don't have a Russian phone number, unfortunately. So this is the end. So the catch is that using demo accounts, the App Store reviewers will not get the full functionality. Maybe they will actually get the information about the coffee grains, but when people input their real bank account numbers, they will get the full functionality. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's explore now some interesting cases. There is a Russian company called Gazprom. Maybe you saw the name of this company in the t-shirts of football players. So for example, this one, Schalke 04. They have a bank called Gazprom Bank, which was sanctioned. The app was removed from the App Store. So they made an app called Cash Hunter. I would think it's the name of a rapper that raps on type beats from YouTube, and that will definitely not succeed in his career, but it's the name of the bank. I found one Cash Hunter, another Cash Hunter. There is also now a bank application. This app was designed as a game. Some of these applications happen to stay with us for so long that they end up in the rating charts. Here is the Vibro Gym app from a sanctioned tea bank, which was published just recently. Before that, they published 3 other apps. The first app, Easy Catch Sounder, masqueraded as a fishing tool. The second app, Clanstrix, masqueraded as a family tree tool. Each of these apps lasted only a day in the App Store. The third app, U-Wheels, disguised itself as an app for car owners. So these bank applications are called Partisan bank apps. And so I just googled in Russian Partisan bank apps, and the recent one was ProZerno that I already showed you.
Only the interesting with Daniil Arain.
Even if the bank that you use fell under sanctions, it doesn't mean that the app will disappear completely from your phone. So let me show you. Well, I have a bank application called Business from sanctioned Tinkoff, and it's still on my phone. I downloaded it in 2020, and in 2023 it got sanctioned. If you're unlucky and don't have the application of your bank, you gotta speedrun your way into downloading a new milk yield accounting once you see the news on the Telegram channel of the bank. Most Russian financial institutions believe that the iPhone audience is worth such effort, although the iPhone users accounts for only 8% of the total audience. In monetary term, it represents 27%. Adding a new app costs us several $1,000s, but if only 10,000 people will download it, it's already worth the effort. But if you're unlucky and you just can't, then you can download the application by visiting office. So this is the guideline from one of the banks. You need to hand over your unlocked device to a bank employee, delete personal photos and documents beforehand, and hide applications. Once the installation is over, change your iPhone password. So pretty much this is the current status. Banks spam the App Store with their new apps. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the comments.